Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Agent Community Leaders. I am so thrilled to be talking with somebody today who I saw. We've been friends on Facebook forever, and you know how that works. Sometimes you're friends with people, and then you're friends with them for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden you see something, it's like, hey, man, that looked really cool, and then you can start a conversation. And that's what happened here because I saw her as a featured person in an EXP training talking about being community centric, being the digital mayor of her town, just like we preach at ExploreMyTown, just like Gary Vee has preached since he came in, but specifically at 2016 Inman, he started talking about it when the big exposure came to real estate agents. And then I had the opportunity to have a conversation with her, and I learned so much. And it was really inspiring. I asked her to come on the show because we got to talk about this stuff. And all the way from St. Louis, Missouri, my friend, Christina Swyers. How are you, Christina?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. It is pretty cool how we are able to connect with people, and it sometimes just takes one little degree of switching, to get in the right rooms with the right people and seeing the right content from one another. And I'm super excited to be here and kind of share my knowledge with you guys. So thank you.
I tread through life with this philosophy. We're one relationship away from a completely different life, right? And that doesn't mean the one relationship to millions. It could, but it means one relationship to inspiration, one relationship that opens a door to something else. And so when I met with you and we started talking about blockchain, you're a pioneer in this space. You are one of the top blockchain listing agents out there. Tell us a little bit about that. Even though this show is more about community centric, I think it's so important. It is part of the paradigm shift, which isn't going to happen. It's in the process of happening. And I've been watching it for the past couple of years. You're knee deep in it, neck deep in it. And so tell us a little bit about what that whole world looks like, because it still is foreign to so many real estate agents.
Yeah, I mean, it was foreign to me 6 months ago. I mean, quite frankly, I haven't spent my whole life learning this, unlike my husband, who's a CTO of a blockchain company. I just hear the conversations. And for me, that sparked interest and wanting to learn more and understanding that this is not just something that's in casual conversation passing. This is something that's going to change our world, essentially. And so for me, wrapping my head around this the last 6 months it's been a challenge. But once I got to understand what it is and what it's going to do for our world and for our industry in real estate, I started getting really excited. And so learning more about the changes, the transparency piece, some really amazing things that blockchain is going to bring to our industry, I started immersing myself in it. And here we are today, fast forward 6 months later, I've put the most amount of listings on blockchain. Every one of my listings now is a certified listing on blockchain, desktop appraisal approved property. I'm doing this through a company called Consortia. So they're the pioneers of, real estate on blockchain, essentially, and helping us get this data on. And it's not just me saying this, the federal government has released things. They're going to be having their own Fed coin. Like, blockchain is coming to our world, to our government, to our just everything we do. And so if you've been in real estate for any amount of time, you used to understand, like, the internet. Before the internet, real estate was in a book, and you went to the brokerage and you saw the listings in the book. And then the internet became a thing, and overnight all the properties went out of that book and went onto the internet. So that will be the evolution in the same way with blockchain. Overnight things will go on blockchain. Real estate will go on blockchain, when the federal government releases all of this in our very near future. So it's not a casual thing that you're going to want to think to learn about or know. You won't eventually be able to do your job unless you know how to use this and you know about this. So blockchain is here to stay.
And listen, let me just dispel any confusion for people, because we hear crypto, we hear blockchain, we hear all these terms thrown around. Crypto is cryptocurrency. It's its own thing, and that's a whole nother conversation. Blockchain is basically the infrastructure. right? So Web 3.0, where the internet, what we understand it now, is Web 2.0. Okay. So for the end user, there shouldn't be any changes. It's going to be transparent in that respect. It's all in the data, the control of data first and foremost, and then the authentication of that data. Right.
Yeah.
You can all of a sudden have things validated quickly, a lot quicker than having a manual process involved.
Mm-hmm.
But from the agent, what is involved real quick? Because I'm interested in this. So I'm going to deviate for 2 more minutes. But
Okay.
what's involved? I mean, you don't have to know coding or anything else like this. You have a simple user interface the same way that you would with an MLS entry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I love that you say that, you really mentioned that cryptocurrency is different than blockchain. People intertwine the two. They think they're the same thing. And like, first and foremost, yes, cryptocurrency is its own thing. Blockchain is completely separate. Blockchain, let's not overcomplicate things, is just a spreadsheet. It's an immutable spreadsheet, which means it can't be changed. Okay. So think of it as like a spreadsheet. Now, as far as like the process with real estate goes, and the understanding, one of the reasons I love the way the consortia has done a certified agent training to go through is because they really have made it to where if you're super green and you know nothing, they start at the very beginning. So what is blockchain? What is crypto? And then they take you through pieced out modules for you to understand how it's going to impact every part of our industry: title, lending, the banking systems, and getting you to understand like the very bare bones basics before diving into things like how to do a transaction using cryptocurrency and getting your client on a wallet and changing the funds. And that's way more complex, right? So just understanding the why and the how first and what things are. They have like a glossary of terms that's constantly being updated. And I love that. It's like the Holy Grail dictionary for me. When I'm like, oh, I don't know that term, what does that mean? I can go there and educate myself on that. And it's really empowering.
Yeah, and it's here to stay because NAR, they don't have it out yet, but they're working on it, right? The designation.
Yeah, this will eventually, it's an RBAC company, be a product more than likely. So they are working with the governments, Fannie, Freddie, all of this to get this implemented. This is here to stay. It's legit. Again, it's not a casual thing anymore. You're going to have to learn this, and you're going to be forced to do this. So you might as well figure it out now.
And there's training around this that exists now.
Yeah, so they have a training, the course that I was just explaining through Consortia. It's about 5.5 hours worth of content that they have pieced out in modules that are self-paced. Yeah. And then the coolest thing is once you get through and you get certified, you're part of a community through Mighty Networks, and they're constantly adding stuff in there for you to ask questions, or if there's updates to be made, because we all know technology, there's always updates. They're put in that community. So it's a really neat way that they've done this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you have an international downline, large international downline. Are they all in on this? Are they all heading in that direction? What's going on with?
Yeah, I mean, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink, right? So I mean, my agents have been hearing me talk about this for 6 months and like what I'm doing, and a lot of them have went through the course or have purchased the course to take it. But again, I can't make people like understand the severity of this, the seriousness of this, that it's going to be just as important to have this training as it is to get your CE classes done, or you won't be able to sell real estate. So just getting people to understand that. I think with the information that has recently come out from our federal government with the Fed coin, that sparked a lot of people going, oh my God, it is coming, because the release of that data says May to July of 2023. That's tomorrow. Like that's right around the corner. That's like 8 months from now. So, you've got to learn it. So yes, of course, my agents are understanding the seriousness of this. My husband and I even created a group on Facebook to teach on this and to give updates if people want to know, what's going on with the process.
What's the name of the group?
Real Estate on Blockchain. How suiting, right? Real estate on blockchain, and we'll just give information in there. We've done a bunch of content videos over the last 5 months to kind of get you to understand like why this is happening. The democratization of data is the most exciting thing for me, because we're going to be able to be tied to a property, and all the data that's attached to that property will be able to earn royalties in perpetuity for the information. So it's another way for agents to, find income, a stream of income, if they do this right.
Yeah, absolutely. Real estate on blockchain.
Yeah.
If they ever let me on Facebook again, I'm going to go join your group. That's a different podcast for another day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's switch gears a little bit. So thank you for sharing that about blockchain. Mm-hmm. I do believe that, the entire consumer buying habit changed in the late 90s, early 2000s. It again changed, throughout the 2000s, closer to now. And it's not just technology, it's consumer. Right. So the millennial consumer and the younger the Gen Z, they're purchasing differently than old people like me. Right. They're born with the understanding that they can have their next meal delivered to them in 35 minutes. Right. From just about any restaurant, from one of several apps. Right. They don't even know what a taxi is. They only know what Uber is. And that's not a slam or anything. It's just everything has become so convenient to our phone, or to realistically the consumer demand. And there's some things that haven't changed from that. And I think that we're in the greatest time ever to be able to, let me just say it this way. Gary Vaynerchuk said, I don't understand why every real estate broker doesn't look at themselves as a local media company, or something close to that.
Yeah.
You should consider yourself the digital mayor of your town, right? He says all of these things. And that's where that's where my ears perked up with you, was you're doing this. How important is it to you to be seen in the community as, let's just call it a leader, as a trusted individual?
It's vital for your business in 2022. I mean, whether you want to be or not, you're a digital creator in the space if you are having any amount of success, honestly, especially going forward, because video is king. Video is king, and content is king, and how you get in front of people is going to be the name of the game. It's going to continue to be that way on social platforms, on Google, on just the internet, right? And eventually migration into blockchain. So understanding, like, having that digital presence is non-negotiable anymore. That's how I got my start. I mean, I've been in real estate for 8 years, and my broker wanted me to cold call, door knock, and work phone duty. And I didn't want to do those things. I went home, I started a Facebook business page, and here we are 8 years later. And I started creating content and putting my face on the camera. And little did I know that was going to be so explosive now. I just had an inclination that was where my ideal client was, where my SOI was, and the people that I wanted to work with, where it didn't feel so hard to work with them, because I knew that they were already following me. They already somewhat liked me. If they weren't, they would unfollow, right? That creates trust and builds trust with people, and people want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So it just made so much sense for me to migrate that way.
You just said the three beautiful words: know, like, and trust, right?
Right.
And that's 100% true. And what allows that to happen in the digital space, in the video space particularly, is the parasocial relationship. That people are seeing you, your mannerisms. I can tell right away whether whether you irk my spirit or not, right? Or whether I like you, and it's like, oh, this person seems trustworthy, right? And Absolutely. So the more you are seen, the more the people are that trust wall is going to come down, and you're approachable, and people are going to see you as that expert. I have a concept I call sphere hacking. Heck, go check it out, spherehacking.com, and get the white paper. And there's a video there too. And it talks all about social media. When you're tagging other people, when you're seen with other people, that increases your credibility. Right. And so what we do is we use video to network, right? Go make relationships, showcase businesses and things like that. I think it's really important. And here's something that I want to talk about that people might not know about. HUD, and the Housing and Urban Development, And Facebook came to a settlement in June, late June. And a lot of it has to do with the way that Facebook was making and collecting audiences and building audiences. And that has to go away. Okay. So real estate agents, we've been getting hit hard, even though we're not real estate agents. Well, we work with real estate agents. We're not marketing real estate. And here's the messed up part. If you're a real estate agent trying to do anything else, they're going to say that you're inauthentic and you're trying to build up an audience under false pretenses. This is what they told me. Wait a minute. So anybody else can go out there and talk about cheeseburgers and pizza in town and stuff. But if you're a real estate agent, then it's a little slanty, right? It's a little shade. So things are going to change, and the marketing, I think, is going to become less effective because of these changes. If HUD did this to Facebook, that means they did it to Instagram. That means they're going to do it to YouTube and Facebook and everything. So be cautious. It's important to be seen in the community. And I think now is the time, more than ever. If you didn't take Gary Vee's advice in 2016, take Gary Vee's advice in 2022, because his advice is right. Become the digital mayor of your town. And when I say the digital mayor, and I want you to add on to this, I'm talking about social media, Google, YouTube, TikTok, all of it, right? On top of blogs, on top of SEO. So when somebody types in trusted real estate Hanover, Pennsylvania, trusted real estate agent Hanover, Pennsylvania, ooh, somebody pops up on the first page of YouTube or on the first page of Google. Let me rephrase it, flip that. On the first page of YouTube as the first video, or on the first page of Google. There's some power there, right? So when you say digital mayor, what are you meaning by digital mayor? Is the same thing, or is there anything that you would add to that?
No, it's exactly what it means, becoming the authority in your market, becoming the leader that people go to to be the expert. People want to work with the best. And how are you positioning yourself online? And if everything is going in that direction and going away, we need to know how to pivot and be agile, with our content. I pivoted a lot to Google. You can post to Google. You can add so many things to Google. That's the only place I put my reviews right now. I don't even ever go to Zillow.
Nope.
So honestly, that's going to be so big. And I've also revamped my website. I pulled it off of my company website, and now I own the data. The IDX feed is on my site. So the clicks are coming to me. The blog clicks are coming to me. And if you're in a position to spend some money to do that, I think it's really important right now to do that. So yeah, for sure. That's exactly what I mean. And the same direction as you're going into, because we don't know, we have no control over the changes they're going to make. We have control of what we do next though. And that's another reason why I am pivoting towards blockchain, because I know that that's going to put me in an elite, a part of an elite for agents that understand that. Buyers and sellers aren't going to want to work with people that aren't educated in that space. You just said it yourself. The consumer is smart. They're controlling things. You know what I mean? It's the reason why Open Doors Zillow have done so good with their iBuyer, because they solved an emotional problem. They solved an emotional problem really, really well for the consumer. And if agents want to get better, they want to solve those problems and gain market share, they're going to have to become more educated and stay abreast of everything that's happening and be that expert.
Absolutely. You hitting the nail on the head so much. I knew this was going to be great. And there's many ways somebody can do this, right? And this is where real estate agents, and I get in trouble because I talk truth, and truth offends people. But I'm okay offending people because it's truth. So many are out there just grasping like the Nemo birds. Mine. They'll do anything, anywhere for the check. And I get it, man. This is a feast or famine business. Yeah. But when it usually happens after, a couple of years in the business, and you get some clients under your belt, and you have some revenue coming in, and you start to understand this business, you got to create, I think, niches. Right? Or you just stay, and don't get me wrong, working by referral is a niche. So if you're going to work by referral in your sphere of influence, there's a methodology to that. I'm also talking about probate. I'm also talking about divorce. You can make a career as a divorce real estate expert, or a probate real estate expert, because these again
Mhm.
are life events or emotional things, emotional
Mhm.
triggers, where you can position yourself at, I mean, 50% of the marriages end up in divorce, right? And
Mhm.
100% of the lives end up in death. So there's an infinite amount of business.
Yep.
Educate yourself in that market, put out content around that subject matter, network with the people that are in that circle. And,
Mhm.
there's an old saying, what you focus on expands, right? Or this, the secret, right? The law of attraction.
Yeah.
If you are engrossed in a particular niche, you are going to find those people, and those people are going to help open doors, right?
Mhm.
You network with attorneys, you get approved by the court. There's so many different ways that you can approach this. Next thing you know, here's the deal. The results that we're seeing today are from the work that we did 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, right? For me, it's some of the work that I did 6 years ago. Some of these relationships are now opening doors. It's like, oh wow, I'm glad to see what you're doing and stuff like that. Let me introduce you to somebody, right? So it really is important. My community now is national, right? Because that's just what I'm doing. But you can become literally a influence, a local influencer, the digital mayor, whatever you want to call it, of your local area. And you're in St. Louis, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people, a lot
Yeah.
of people. You're not going to work with them all,
Nah.
but you're going to work with the ones that you want to work with. But you're able to attract because you're putting yourself out there on social media with a good, proper message. Do
Right.
you think the messages that people of putting out, listed another one, just sold this one for 20,000 over asking price, are those the proper messages? Is there a time and a place for those messages, or should they be doing something a little bit more creative, a little bit more educational, in your opinion?
I mean, if that's all you're posting, I don't see how you're getting any kind of results, right? That's if you're doing the same thing every agent. It's like going to Facebook ads library. You can see everyone's ads. And when you go on there, you're like, they're all the same. Like they're not getting results because these are all the same thing. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
do something different. You need to do something to stand out, right? I think it's okay to throw that in here or there, but you have to be showing up. It's not something you can auto post and leverage ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like people can smell BS. They know they don't like bots. They don't. They want authentic reality,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to be able to show that in a way that you're educating and entertaining, because that's why people go to social media, for education and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do those things in a creative way, like your way, you will captivate and have a niche in
Yeah.
that.
We were talking before I hit record, and I said 63% of our usage, our video views on YouTube are on smart TVs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Yeah.
it was a large percent, close to 30, in the 30s on mobile. And then Cisco says that they anticipate 79% of the data delivered to your telephone will be video. Video is critical, but it allows you to control the
Mm-hmm.
environment. It allows you to control the narrative, whatever that narrative that you might want to be in, right?
Yeah.
So, what direction do you want to go? What message do you want to be? Um, let's ask you about you. Did you, when you first did this, did you just go out there general and then hone in on something, on what the response was, or did you go in kind of niche? Did you have something that you were going for? What was it?
I mean, 8 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing, right? All I knew is that I wanted to start showing up on social media and build relationships there. And I would read like personal development books and share like about the books I was reading.
Yeah.
There were just so many. It's trial and error. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I did a TV show for a year, and that helped me a lot. Like I learned so much. And then after I did that, I hired my own videographer and started creating content like you know in the community and interviewing. I think the biggest thing though is that agents will not get their face and their body on the camera. They don't like it and they won't do it. And so even though you and I can sit here and tell them to do it, they're still not going to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be that agent that doesn't do it. You already have an advantage over somebody else because most people won't do it.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I talk about this all the time. Knowledge, fear, and time, right? The three reasons we've identified is knowledge, fear, of time, knowledge, fear, or time. Now, here's the thing about fear. Most likely, it's not. You have to identify the fear, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I'm scared of being on camera." Well, why? And this is some of the process that I go through with people. Well, why? And then oftentimes it comes out to, I don't like the way that I look. The only person who cares about that is you, right? The only person who cares about that is you. If somebody leaves a negative comment, just go to TikTok. You'll see how many negative comments there really are. People are negative, right? Social media is a negative place. And so when Facebook shuts me off for a little while, I consider it a mindset readjustment, right? It's like, I'll come back. I won't stop. I'll come back. I'm back, right? But I think you have to get over that worry of what other people think. I don't give a crap what other people think. Right? I don't, because the other people, the negative people, they don't pay my bills, right? Because out of that one negative comment that I get 100 good ones, right? I get people reaching out to me and stuff like that. And that's what I'm after. What else do you think it is? Do you think that's the main thing that is keeping people from being on video is an unidentified or an unacknowledged fear? And one of those fears might simply just be, I don't like the way that I look.
I think people are insecure. I think everybody is trying to be something they're not, and they're going about it the wrong way. It really, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of personal development and work on yourself and investment in yourself to get you a secure place to be okay with doing that. You have to do the work on yourself internally before you can show up as that person externally. And I think that's the problem. I think we are living in a society where everybody wants things now, and they just want to show up one day and play the part, and they haven't done the work on the back end. They haven't practiced and worked on their lines to be able to show up every day. Because when I show up, it's not like I write things out. Like, it just comes and flows to me naturally, and it's in my head, and I'm real fast when I do it now, just because I already know what the goal is. It wasn't always that way. I had to do the work first. And I think that's the biggest misunderstanding. I think people are lazy. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to spend the money. They don't want to do the things that are necessary. Listen, if you want what you don't have, you have to do things that are not everybody will do, right? That's what they say. That's why the top 90% do 10% of the work. There's always going to be people that are willing to go the extra mile. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur. It is not easy to do this. If it was easy, everyone would do it. We have an 87% failure rate in this industry by year 5. That's so high. And that's because people are unrealistic and they're not willing to do the work. So beat the odds, do the work.
Beat the odds. And even the 13% that remain, right? There's only a small percent that really become top producer. Right. So there's a whole bunch of people making a great living. But there's even a smaller group that is that. I mean, if I pulled my MLS right now, there's probably about 4,000 to 5,000 people in that MLS. And out of that 4,000 to 5,000 people, there's probably 6 pages of people who are doing really, really great, right? 5 pages of people doing really great. The rest of them are having difficulties of some sort. Not everybody's in it to win it, right? Some people are in it part-time, or if I could sell just 2 houses a year. But it is a hard job. Technology is making it easier and harder. Right? Because what technology is trying to do is suck that person away from you. And that's why having your own social media channels, your own web pages, your own YouTube channel. Here's the thing about YouTube. I'm giving up Facebook, right? I'm giving up marketing and stuff like that on Facebook for the most part. I'm all in on YouTube, right? We started recording our sessions yesterday where we're taking past partners' material and rehashing them and making a series out of it where I'm hosting the series. Who knows how it will come out? This ain't what I didn't wake up and say, I want to be a YouTuber, right? I'm uncomfortable doing it. But here I am doing it because it's what's required.
Right.
But YouTube builds equity. It's there forever. It's there forever. It only takes one video to go crazy for your channel to then be pulled up.
Right.
But I can promise you, Christina, if you don't do it, it won't happen.
Right. Chances of it happening are 0.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So listen, what's some advice you could give somebody? Whatever kind of advice you want to give them. They newer, hit a plateau, struggling. What is something that an agent can do to help their career revamp or take off right now?
I mean, change what you're doing right now. If it's not working for you, you're in a slump, you're brand new, you don't know where to start. Just start creating, start sharing. Be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else. We're overcomplicating this, okay? Especially with things like Reels and TikToks and like all this stuff. Just stay true to understanding like very basics. Start with the basics, things that you can educate on. I saw a statistics the other day that said, the majority of Americans still think you need 20% down to buy a house. Like, that's not true at all. So start with the reality, right? Start educating and helping people and adding value. That is where you'll find success.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, all of us, we belong to a board or an association. So either on the state level or your local level, if you go to their public facing websites, right, and probably your internal facing websites too, there is going to be data there that you can use. Talk about the data, talk about what's happened in the housing market this year compared to last year, this month compared to last month, right? Where the experts think we're going. You can join Keeping Current Matters and use their material, right? And talk about what's happening. People want to work with people they know, like, and trust, but who are also semi-intelligent, right? And I don't mean book smart. I'm talking about your craft.
Right. Know your craft. Know your market. Know it really well. Know the best spots. Know the best neighborhoods. Become an expert. Become that digital mayor.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. So listen, how do people find you?
Well, they can come and find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at The Real Christina Swyers, or you can go to my website, ChristinaSwyers.com. You pretty much can Google me. If you Google Christina Swyers, I'm going to come up.
Awesome. That is perfect. That is some, what do we call that? Digital auditing, right? Digital auditing. You should
digitally audit yourself. Like, go Google yourself. What comes up?
Right. Now, I will tell you, SWYERS is how you spell it, right? Yeah. You got the same problem that I got. People don't know how to spell Masilla, right? That's why I go by Johnny Mo. It's just so much easier.
Hasn't stopped me though, just can't use that as a, but people know you as Johnny Mo, so that's how they know you.
Right. So awesome, man. I want to thank you. Listen, we talked about some great stuff here that I hope people start to really grasp and understand. And blockchain is real. It's happening. Being a digital mayor, start out with, simply tell stories about interesting people, places, and things. But be authentic is what I heard from you. Be yourself. Be authentic. People like authentic people. If you try to copy somebody else, then you're not being authentic, right?
Right.
People will buy from people, or people will do business with people they know, like, and trust. Bring value. Don't be the same. Right. Is that what we hear? That's what we're hearing?
Don't be afraid to be yourself, to speak your mind, to have a stance. Stay firm in your convictions. Stay true to who you are, and the right people will gravitate.
That is awesome. Y'all go to ChristinaSwyers.com. Look her up on social media. Until next time, I'm Johnny Mo. I want to thank you all for joining the Real Estate Community Leaders. If you want to join our group, go find that on Facebook too. If Facebook hasn't shut us down there too. Facebook's crazy right now. They are crazy with the HUD lawsuit and settlements and stuff like that. So anyways, go join the group. Go find us there. We talk about video and networking and using video to network and becoming the community mayor of your town. Anyways, Christina Swyers, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good day.